Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives of the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Winkler knives Jaeger. And this is a knife that I picked up in my in my 2021 Winkler spree. I went from no Winkler knives to 3 Winkler knives in a very short amount of time. But this one I hadn't had the time to take out to the woods and test it out. So now I wanted to do a review because it's a little bit larger than the Winkler General that I reviewed in the past, and I wanted to show you and let you know how the testing of this one went. So again, let me give you a tour of the knife and skip a little bit ahead. If you've heard some of this stuff about Winkler in the past, I tried to reiterate some of this stuff that I know about Winkler knives in every video. So skip a little bit ahead if you already know this stuff. So Winkler knives has an 80 CRB2 blade. That's what he used for all of his knives, as far as I know. This one, it's a smaller blade, so right a little over 3.5 inches long. So it's a very small fixed blade. You know, it's kind of what I would consider an EDC if you're gonna be camping or out in the woods. This is kind of your, you know, kind of like an EDC type knife for that application. Now, in my neck of the woods, where what I do for a living, I can't EDC this. I can't be walking around the office with a fixed blade at my hip. But this is what something this size is what I usually carry when I'm just out and about camping or we have a property in the woods. This is kind of what I have. It has a maple handle. This is kind of quilted maple. You can see like the shimmer of the maple there. It's a full tank construction. You can see the Winkler knives. It has like this thumb ram that becomes kind of a harpoon swedge here in the top. And the jimping, this one is a little bit different from the jimping that I've seen from Winkler in the past. It's usually a line and then a kind of a circular divot that goes out and then it alternates. This one is actually just lines, and this one is actually a little bit better in my opinion, because it's not painful at all, but it is very efficient. Your thumb just doesn't want to move from that position. Then you have kind of this cutout in the handle for like a pinch grip, and you've got a more ergonomic handle that I'm used to from Winkler knives, and we'll speak to that in a second. But when I say that it's not a big knife, let me try and give you some size comparisons. Here it is against a pair of 2 and a pair of 3. So as you can see, in size wise, is very similar to a pair of 2, if you're familiar with that. Now, in videos past, I asked my viewers, hey, if you think of a fixed blade that could be used for size comparisons, something that a lot of people have, then let me know. And a lot of you have commented, and it's been very helpful. And one of the ones that was most recommended was the SE line. So here it is against the SE3, and here it is against the SE5. I don't know, the color, you might not be able to see it. It blends in. Can you tell? Here's one, here's the other. Can you tell? Yeah. All right. So it's very much in the vicinity of the SE3. The SE3 being that size of knife that I'm telling you about, that you can carry kind of as just a belt knife without a specific task in mind. The SE5 would be more of a, hey, I'm going to be doing some chopping, some batoning, some really heavy wood processing, or some very, very heavy duty tasks. That's where you would carry this bar of steel over here. So this very much in the same vein as an SE3. Now, I have become a fan of Winkler knives. The heat treatment that he does on his knife, that is very unique. He does his heat treatment after the grind, which is a process that is very difficult to do. Most people want to do the heat treatment before the grind so that the blade doesn't warp. And even though it's not what I would consider a premium steel, as you can see, I've put it through its paces. You can see the marks. I've oiled it and maintained it a little bit. I still need to strop it and get some of on the secondary bevel. But I did some light wood processing. I not quite batoning, or I guess batoning, but when I'm trying to do kindling, processing kindling. So I processed kindling with it. I cut rope. I did a lot of the wood tasks, small bushcraft type things, a little bit of carving. I did all of that with this knife, and this is really, really nice. There's going to be a stiff competition between this one and my Winkler General for the Winkler knife that I would take out. This one's a little bit bigger than the General, but it's probably a little bit of a more versatile blade than that one, because that one is a little bit smaller. So if we talk about ergonomics on this, the ergonomics on this one are very, very good. And the only reason that I don't say excellent is because in my large hand, I wear large gloves. The space between this forward curve here and the rear curve back here, okay, it cramps my hand just a little bit. Okay, yeah, I'm missing probably 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch of the curve being a little bit further back. My large hand, it still feels good in the hand, but feels a little bit cramped. I do feel like my fingers are being squished when I squeeze hard on this handle. Now, they are a little bit better than a lot of the other Winkler knives that I've had, because they have this shape. There's like a curve here, and then a swell, and then another curve here, that you don't see in some of the other Winkler knives. A lot of the other Winkler knives are just, it's just straight and getting kind of fatter in the back. So this one is a little bit unique. There's even a little bit of contouring going on in this direction. It kind of gets fat right here and narrower in the back and the front. So trying to approach the Coke bottle type handle that you see in a Bark River, it's far more pronounced in a Bark River, but still very, very nice in the Winkler. So the ergonomics are fairly, fairly good. Like I said, the thumb ramp and the jimping right here is excellent, and your thumb just lands exactly where you want it, and it gives you a very, very nice solid purchase on the knife. Cutting with it, I think it does a really, really nice job cutting. As far as I know, Winkler for the most part uses the same blade stock for most of his knives, and I like this blade stock for a fixed blade of this size. I don't like the blade stock for a fixed blade that is bigger. He uses the same knife for the same blade stock for the field knife, and I think that's a little bit thin for that application. But for this application, I like it a lot. I think it's thick enough. It's thick enough that I don't worry about it. I don't worry about using it, but thin enough for all of those tasks that I just described. I think it's a very, very nice thickness of blade for this type knife and for this application of what I use it for. Because the ergonomics are really good. You got a lanyard hole here in the back. I haven't used it, and I don't think I'm going to, precisely because my finger is kind of landing right there. So I feel like the lanyard in the back, there's not enough space for me to really use it as a lanyard. If you look at kind of like the SE3, you've got a lanyard hole, but it's out here where it could help to do something. Here, I don't think it would help me do anything. Now, fit and finish is outstanding. I've heard from some people that they've had, well, at least one viewer said that he had some trouble with his Winkler knife. The three that I have, as far as as long as I've had them, I haven't had any problems with them. I think they're excellently made. I think the fit and finish is really nice. I think the wood is really nice. And I'm gonna beat this drum until I run out of drums. The sheath on the Winkler knives, and I'm gonna showcase it here again, is just the best sheath in the planet. What you have is an exterior layer of leather, and then you have Kydex in the middle, and then felt on the right up against the knife in here. Or I don't know if it's felt. In this one it feels like leather as well. In some of my other knives it's felt. But what you get is the retention of Kydex without that plasticky feel when you click something in place. You know, like if I grab the sheath for my Essie, right? This and that click, the plasticky feel you don't get in the Winkler sheath. It is just such a well-made sheath that I think Winkler knives are worth their price just because of the sheath. I think the sheath is superior. You've got these 4 screws that you can alternate between vertical carry and Scout's carry. The sheath is outstanding. I think if Winkler Knives decides to do sheaths for other fixed blades, I think they'll make a killing on it. So, you know, finally, I think my only airing of grievance is you can see that the finish here is fairly well marked, you know, and in general I don't like coated blades because they show their wear just like this. This is after one outing or one camping trip. This is kind of what it looks like. So over time this is just gonna be more and more prominent. So I don't like coated blades, but overall I think the edge held out really well, even for an 80 CRV2. Like I said, the heat treatment on these things is amazing. I always say that I would pay good money to have Dan Winkler do his heat treatment on a premium steel like a 3V or something like that, and see what comes out of that. You know, other than that, I think I would like a sharpening choil right here, just because I do like to sharpen my knives, and I'm gonna have a hard time getting into this corner right here. You can see even he had a problem getting into that corner right there. But other than that, I think it's an outstanding knife. It's hard not to recommend all of Winkler's knives. All of the ones I've had the field knife, I have the General, and I have the Jaeger, and they're all outstanding knives. You know, I'm in the process of picking up a belt knife to test, a Blue Ridge Hunter. You know, I think my Winkler knives collection is just gonna expand just because they're so well made. And you know, I had a discussion with one of my viewers because he believes that they're overpriced, and I think, you know, between the sheath that you get, that honestly it's just phenomenal. The fit and finish, the handle, the heat treatment, the design, and the quality of the knife. The only thing that I would hope is a different steel. It's my only knock. I've had correspondence with Dan Winkler. He feels very strongly about using this steel. He doesn't believe that there's any benefit, and he's the master bladesmith. I'm just a user, so you might want to take his word over mine. But man, I almost want to just do the experiment and have him do a 3V blade. In any event, guys, I would highly recommend this knife. I think it's a neck-to-neck battle between this one and the General. I think ergonomically this one's a little bit better, except for the space here for your hand. So if you have, you know, kind of medium hands, this might be better. The neutral handle of the General fits my hand a little bit better, but a larger blade is a little bit more versatile from the Jaeger to the General. So guys, hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you enjoy it. If you do, like and subscribe. Do not get notified. Nobody wants more emails. You know where to find me if you want to see my content. Until I see you again, take care.